Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, then you are tuned in for another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast. You know me, it's your boy, Jay Riddy in the building. And of course, if I'm in here, you know I'm not in here alone. You know we also got Lady Great One in the building. Say hi to the people.
What is up, my friends? What is up, my fellow markers? How y'all doing tonight?
To all our fellow marksmen and marks ladies out there, of course, you know we are live like we are always on every Sunday, every Thursday night, excuse me. I don't know what day it is, excuse me. But tonight we got a couple of topics for you. We are going to be discussing the revival. Are they done in WWE? Does this mean that they are going to be part of the first wave that goes to AEW from WWE? Also, we're going to discuss NXT TakeOver Blackpool. Also, Finn Balor is now the number one contender. Braun Strowman is out. What is that going to do for the title picture on Raw? All this and more that we got for you tonight. But first, I am going to hit our damn music. If our damn music works. Just 1 second, people. Having technical difficulties here.
He looks like a fan. Marking out. He was marking out, man. 450 off the top with the top. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out. He was marking out, man.
All right. Love that theme. Once again, that theme is our new Marking Out Amongst Friends theme. Thanks to our wonderful guest last week, Chill Edwards. Follow him on social media. Follow him at the official Chill P on Instagram. Lady Great One. This first topic, the revival. We know the revival, a part of the revival, very well, don't we? Scott Dawson, I believe, Scott Dawson used to be a singles champion actually in the area of North Carolina that we are in. And if I'm not mistaken, in the same local promotion that our friend Mr. VIP, who's not with us tonight, actually used to be a manager for. Correct me if I'm wrong.
If I could correct you, then I would, but on that, I am unsure if it was exactly that 100% promotion that he was a part of. But I do know that he has definitely worked with the past.
Yeah, I think I want to say I'm correct on that one. The only thing I am unsure of is if it was Scott Dawson or if it was the other one. I'm more under the impression that it was Scott Dawson, though. Scott Dawson used to be under the name, what was it, Casey McKnight, I believe.
Yep.
That was the name, Casey McKnight, singles champion. If you guys haven't heard of it, look it up. Mr. VIP, once again, used to be a valet for the same promotion. This was many, many moons ago. And I would have never thought that he would turn out to be such a success in the WWE from being a champion in a local promotion. But the revival, NXT at their finals, probably one of the greatest NXT tag teams ever, have been rumored to ask for their release from WWE. By yourself, you think this is a good move for the revival if they indeed are asking for their release?
Well, considering how Raw has been treating their tag teams like a joke, it's a bold move, and I'm not 100% against it. But then again, I'm not 100% for it. I mean, but if you're unhappy with your job, you're unhappy, and if a change of pace is what you need to get excited about doing what you love again, then that's why I am all for it. But if you're thinking about the possible financial aspect of it, even Triple H said that he was willing to double the contracts, or not just Triple H, but WWE was willing to double the contracts offered to current stars that have received offers from AEW. So if you look at it like that, it is very, very tempting to stay as well. So I don't know. It's really the individual's call. It could be a good move for them. They could use that change of scenery, not having to travel as much. But then again, so what if AEW flops? I don't know. So that's more of a, it's your call, but whichever road that you decide to go on, I'm with it.
Facts. Big facts. I am, of course, with them being rumored to be asking for the release, everybody is pretty much linking them to AEW, saying that, hey, this is the move that you should make. At first, I was definitely with it, but, I'm not really sure if I agree with the move to go to AEW, if that indeed is the reason for them wanting their release. Now, the Revival were a tag team that was, and correct me if I'm wrong once again, this is a WWE created tag team, correct? I don't think anybody knew of the Revival before NXT. I don't know if they were a tag team before NXT, but I do know that NXT did push them to a meteoric status. I think they were the first two-time NXT Tag Team Champions, if I'm not mistaken. And their transition from NXT to the main roster has not really been what most, especially NXT fans and indie fans, were what they were looking for. And I think they've been on the main roster now for maybe a year and a half or so. A lot of that time frame, one of them was injured for a very long period, so that affected their status. When they came back, they did feud with some main eventers. I think they had a few matches with Roman. I think there was one or two times where they actually prevailed and came out with the victory against Roman. But other than that, they've had a few title matches. Most recently, they've been feuding with Lucha Underground. And it's not really, well, not Lucha Underground, Lucha House Party. They've been feuding with Lucha House Party, which a lot of people think has been more so of a jobber status for them to do in this. So it's a lot. It's two different ways that people are looking at this and saying that the Revival should leave. I think after some strenuous thought, I don't think that they should move just yet. We know that they can be a great tag team. But as far as the whole gimmick with the Revival, I mean, the WWE probably owns that gimmick. So, if they move and go to AEW, they have to come up with a brand new gimmick. They haven't really done a lot of evolving with that whole gimmick since coming to the main roster. It's just that we know that they're a great tag team there as far as the wrestling goes. So I think it would probably be smarter to remain in WWE as one of the consistent tag teams, wait for their stock to build a little bit, maybe get a couple of tag team championship reigns under their belt before they decide to move on. And a lot of people are saying that they're not being pushed right, or they're not, being put in the right direction. And it's like, in this situation, if you're not talking about championships, what are you talking about in the instance of how are they not being pushed correctly?
Well, a lot of people have said that Raw doesn't really even utilize their tag team division, which I am definitely one of those people who have said that. Absolutely. I mean, you take two stars with nothing in common and you throw them together, i.e. case in point, at least the B team has a background instead of throwing them together. But like Root and Gable, why are they, one, tag team champions? Not that I don't like either one of them, but as a tag team, they are not like Cesaro and Sheamus. At least they have also something in common. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode don't really have anything in common. It's just like, hey, well, we're just going to throw you together and just see what happens. And I think that that's also been a big problem on Raw in comparison to like SmackDown. But then again, outside of SmackDown, who do you have on there? You have the Usos, who are a naturally born tag team. So, like, you can't really say anything in that direction. You have two bitter enemies who became like the best of friends. And then you have three guys in which you had nothing in common with in the beginning. They got fed up, they got put together, and have been the longest reigning faction. Outside of those three, who do you have as far as the tag division? You have Sanity, which you hardly do anything with. You have the Good Brothers, which you hardly do anything with. So the tag division is not quite what it used to be years ago, but then again, for years, they have just been taking random stars, throwing them together, and trying to push and develop, I guess. And the Revival is no different. So, and I have no idea where I was going with this.
Well, I do agree that the tag team division, especially on Raw, more than anything else, is not where I would like it to be. It is a lot of tag teams that they just kind of created. I think a lot of people are upset as well is that a lot of teams from NXT don't achieve the success that they feel like they earn, so to speak, as far as from a fan standpoint. I tend to disagree. I think really the only real tag team that was a great tag team in NXT that didn't really achieve a whole lot of success or didn't achieve the wanted success when going to the main roster was probably the Ascension. You got tag teams like, American Alpha, who came in and, won main event gold or tag team title gold relatively quickly. You've seen the Authors of Pain.
Sorry. I apologize. I'm not trying to cut you off, but you forgot about AOP.
I was saying AOP when you cut me off.
Oh.
So
at least we have the same frame of mind.
Yeah, so AOP, you've seen AOP grab gold. You've seen other teams that may not have grabbed gold, that much, but were still successfully part of the tag team division and getting pushes, such as, before their breakup, Big Cass and Enzo were definitely on a meteoric push in the tag team division when they came from NXT. So it's not, I don't think that there's a death, quote unquote, to NXT tag teams when they come to the main roster. I just don't think that a lot of people are happy with the way that they get pushed. I don't personally like the Lucha House Party, but part of the Lucha House Party is also NXT Tag Team Championship alum, amongst Kalisto. Kalisto is also a former mid-card champion as well. That's part of that group. So it's really the Lucha House Party really a team that you can consider quote unquote jobbers, or that the Revival is driving to, or is it the fact that they're just trying to push other tag teams in that division as well?
Well, I don't consider the Lucha House Party exactly jobbers, but I mean, like, jobbers would be like Sam Johnson and Brock Bojack or something like that from Greensboro, North Carolina. I mean, just two random people that they pulled, two local wrestlers, and changed their names and then have them coming out and losing. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't consider that to be a job. I just think that it was also a push, like, hey, let's get another legitimate tag team, put them together. And, well, the Jazz Party isn't really a legitimate tag team, but there's three singles lucha style wrestlers. They're all masked wrestlers. So we're throwing them in a tag team and we're calling them the Lucha House Party. Okay. But at least they're trying to do something and build with them. And they do all have great chemistry together. They have together very well on 205 Live, or should I say Leo 5 Live? I came to collect. But anyway, so I wouldn't say that it was a job that the Revival had. I just think that they're just unhappy with being underutilized and the fact that they had yet to capture the bronze ring, that tag team gold, even though they are probably one of the most legitimate tag teams that Raw has on their roster.
Absolutely.
So personal unhappiness.
Yes, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that they can definitely earn their niche anywhere that they go. I think that a lot of people are just going to want anybody that's not any fan that is not happy with a team or a single star that they like right now. They're going to try to link them to AEW. But I mean, I think that this is something that you can definitely start off with a more meteoric push, but in the end, are you going to have more prestige? Are you going to have more impact on the business? With moving over to AEW so soon, without even knowing what AEW is as of yet, or could you stay with WWE, allow your stock to build a little bit longer? Because a year and a half is not really a long time to really determine a whole lot. I think that we're used to seeing people that are considered all-time greats now, get pushed really quickly. And I think that you shouldn't always want that. Mentioning American Alpha earlier, American Alpha captured the tag team titles very quickly. And then we saw once they lost the tag team titles, after capturing the tag team titles on SmackDown relatively quickly, they didn't really have much to do with American Alpha afterwards. They didn't know how to push them. They didn't really know how to book them. And eventually they ended up getting split with Jason Jordan going to Raw, Chad Gable turning into a single star on SmackDown, and then back into the tag division now on Raw. So, I mean, it's not one of those things to where, we can't predict whether, it's hard to predict in that first year, even first 2 years, whether somebody is just getting that poorly booked or not. I mean, they've been in some really high-profile matches. The only thing that we can argue about the booking is possibly consistent stories, which there aren't really a whole lot of consistent stories with the tag team division, and them not coming away with gold could be a knock. But other than that, I mean, they've pretty much gotten a little better push than a lot of other tag teams that have been there longer than them. So I can't really say that they're not getting a push. It's not a meteoric push, but, they've been consistently on television, regardless of their picture in the title ranking, since coming into the main roster. Wasn't it the Raw? Was it Raw 1000? Whatever episode it was when they feuded with DX in the club. Also feuding with Roman Reigns once again, getting a couple of dubs off of them. They've been in a couple of tag team matches, tag team title matches. I mean, what more can you ask for outside of that?
Unless travel schedule.
Yeah. But I mean, for a tag team that's really more so up and coming, I don't know if you should really be complaining about the time schedule this early in the game as well. Like I said, I mean, it could be a good move either way that they decide to go, whether they want to be released and go to AEW or what. It could be a great move, but it's just like, I don't think that right now is the time to jump ship until you know what AEW can produce. Like you said, AEW, we don't know if they're going to flop or not. The premise behind it is a very great start, but, wrestling is a hard business to get into in this generation in North America to compete with the likes of someone like WWE. We've seen TNA in the beginning stages. We've seen TNA with a consistent TV contract before with some former WWE stars. We've seen them put on some great matches. And even as good as TNA was in its prime, it still never was able to compete with WWE. So it's really tough to try to make that jump right now. Because if you leave right now and they do flop, where does that leave you to come back to WWE and make that same amount of money or get that same amount of, stardom and fame from there.
Well, I'm not a gambling man, but hey, if you want to roll the dice, that's your call. Either way, let's go ahead and move on.
Right. Whether you want to stay or not, I think that, it's going to be your move. It'll be a good move either way, but I would think it would probably be best if they stayed in WWE. But moving right along, the next topic we're going to discuss, NXT Blackpool. I personally have still not been able to catch NXT Blackpool. Don't judge me. It's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. I haven't really been able to keep up with it. Still plan on watching it even after tonight. But Toya, you were able to catch NXT Blackpool. I heard it was a hell of a show.
Yes, there was some very, very, very exciting matches on NXT UK Blackpool. I'm just going to do a brief run through because I'm pretty sure that if you haven't caught it yet, then you can catch it on WWE Network on demand right now. Shameless plug. It's only $9.99 a month free for the first
We ain't paid.
Shameless plug.
We ain't paid for them plugs. But
oops. Well, either way. So starting off, we crowned first ever WWE UK NXT tag champions. And we had the team of Mustache Mountain. For those who don't know, that's Tyler Bate and Trent Seven versus Zach Gibson and James Drake. Now, Mustache Mountain was the heavy favorite coming into this. Everybody else had to have a tag team tournament to get it to their spot. And the winners of that tournament were Zach Gibson and James Drake. And they're also your first ever NXT UK champions. Tag champions, excuse me. So, it was a good match. Really, really, really good action. Once again, I suggest you go and you watch this pay-per-view for yourself. It was really, really good. But the next match was actually had a little twist inside of it. It was supposed to be Jordan Devlin versus the buzzsaw Travis Banks. And before the match had happened, Jordan Devlin attacked Bate, attacked him again, and basically took Banks out to where he couldn't even perform. And so Johnny Saint and his assistant, I have no idea what his name is, so don't even ask me. I'll just say his assistant. They said that they thought that Devlin might try some sneaky underhanded tricks. So they pull out the big cards, call up the big dogs, and bring back one Mr. Finn Balor, who not only, of course, is Finn Balor, who is from Ireland, also trained Jordan Devlin. So the styles were very, very comparable back to each other, and hell of a match. Once again, you got to see it for yourself because I don't want to give away too much. But it was still a nice surprise for Finn Balor to show up on the NXT UK. Then you also had Dave Mastiff, the Bomber, versus Eddie Dennis in a no DQ match. In their first pay-per-view, they're having no DQ matches. And this guy, Dave Mastiff, is massive. He is a big, massive, massive, massive man. So Eddie Dennis is a very tall, he looks extremely slender for his height, but he is extremely powerful. So don't let the size fool you. Once again, great match. And the last two matches, I'm going to just kind of skim through because they're the championship matches. The people I wanted to win won. Easy as that. You had Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm for the women's UK championship. And your winner and new UK championship, obviously, Miss Toni Storm. Congratulations to you. As well as the record-holding champion, longest reigning champion of the modern era, Mr. Pete Dunne retain his title against a very game Joe Coffey. But at the end of that match, the very highly, highly, highly anticipated debut of Walter. He didn't come out and wrestle, but just his presence there. This is supposedly a major signing in WWE NXT UK. So I've personally never seen him wrestle, but I'm kind of excited to see how the ring general's going to get it done, because that's what the back of his coat said. So big things to come, and for there to be their very first pay-per-view, all in all, very, very good pay-per-view. I definitely give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Awesome. So this Walter guy, I've definitely heard a lot of big news about Walter. I don't know much about him. I can say the only thing I've seen him in is I saw a video clip of him in a match with Zack Sabre Jr. and he slapped the pure piss out of him. And it was one of the things that was just like, you see it and it just sounded like it ricocheted across the whole building when it connected. It was just nasty the way that thing connected. And Zack Sabre Jr. sold the hell out of it as well. But Walter is a massive dude himself, from what I've seen. I've heard that big boot that he has is very dangerous. I definitely want to see what he's going to do in the newly touted NXT UK. I definitely want to see what the fuss is about this Walter guy. If you haven't seen the video that I'm talking about, it's probably all over YouTube. Just type in Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. and you'll definitely find it. But yeah, he slapped the pure sugar honey iced tea out of that dude.
Slapped the taste out of his mouth.
And it was a chest chop at that. It was just like it was like the power of 10 Ric Flair chops in one. And I'm telling you, that thing connected. And you got to see it. You got to see it. Speaking of Finn Balor, though, so Finn Balor made his presence at this pay-per-view. And you see he actually put on a pretty good match with, who'd you say it was? Jordan Devlin?
It was a great match. I mean, styles are very, very similar. I mean, think about it. He trained the man. Finn Balor trained Jordan Devlin. So, of course, the styles are going to be similar. Not only that, but they're also similar in height. They're similar in size, build, everything.
So I'm sitting here looking at the guy because, like I said, I hadn't seen it yet. I'm looking at him. I'm like, this is like Finn Balor Jr. that I'm looking at here. Like, he looks like I don't know if you guys are watchers of Titans out there. This is like Dick Grayson meeting the other Robin, Jason Todd, so to speak. Jordan Devlin is like the Jason Todd in this picture, I guess. This is definitely the lad. He's much younger, like you said. Similar build. This could be. You think this guy is somebody that we might be on the lookout for as a future star in WWE?
Definitely. He has the look. He has the build. I mean, he's definitely talented. He can cut a good promo because he did cut a good promo in that. So, I mean, we'll just have to see where it goes from there. But I'm definitely seeing great things coming out of Jordan Devlin.
Awesome. Okay. Let's take a look here. All right. So Finn Balor, while we're on the subject of Finn Balor, is now in as the new #1 contender for the Universal title. He's going to face Brock Lesnar a little less than 2 weeks at the Royal Rumble. Do you buy or sell Finn as a formidable opponent for Brock Lesnar for this Universal title?
No offense to every big guy that Brock Lesnar has faced, but Brock, the man himself, said that he works better with the smaller guys. His best matches have came from the smaller guys recently. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, look at the match that he had with AJ Styles. Mm-hmm. Incredible. Look at the match that he had with Daniel Bryan. incredible. Why can't we get a better Brock match and not just a suplex city, suplex? Oh, okay, that's it. So why can't we expect something better out of Brock being able to face a smaller Finn Balor versus him facing a towering Braun Strowman?
Yeah, I mean, you know me. Now I've been the biggest Finn Balor advocate probably on this show for months, probably on into the first season. Every time he has a match, I always pick him at the pay-per-view, even though he's lost quite a bit of those. But I always said that Finn Balor is everything that the perfect top guy face should be in this generation. He's he's a good-looking guy. He's got the look. You put him in the ring, he's amazing in the ring with everybody that you put him in a match with. He's got the gimmick, the whole character down pat. Being like the whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. He's Finn Balor. He's like the mild-mannered, almost Clark Kent guy. And then he's got the demon who's like, the Super Saiyan God version of himself. He's got everything. The kids love him. The adult wrestling fans love him. The indie fans love him. It's one of those things where, like,
the ladies love him.
Yeah, the ladies love him. I mean, it's like you can't lose with Finn. This guy is definitely somebody who should definitely be a top face. I'm buying him definitely as an opponent with Brock Lesnar. I definitely hope Brock Lesnar doesn't go out there and maul him. I'm definitely hoping that he's going to come out as the Demon. If any time in your career that you need to come out as the Demon, this needs to be it. As a matter of fact...
Thank you.
As a matter of fact, if you don't... Even if you come out as the Demon, I think you need to cut a promo as the Demon by, maybe either the next Raw or on some segment before the pay-per-view, just to really do more to build that anticipation of facing Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And, I know we're not on our prediction show yet, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that WWE has made us think that they're going to throw a swerve and, pretty much pick Brock Lesnar to win in almost every single, option. I think that because of last minute, I'm thinking that Finn Balor may walk away as the Universal Champion in this match. I know that's a bold statement, but I am definitely picking Finn Balor to walk out of the Royal Rumble as the Universal Champion. Before I make any other major picks, I know, man, I failed you in the past when I picked you. You go out there and you lose. But in my heart, I feel that Finn Balor has got this one under wraps.
And I can't help but to agree with you there. I mean, next week is the last Raw before the Royal Rumble. So if there's any time to have Brock just like straight piss Finn off, so this way Finn does come back as a Demon. But if you're into this big of a title match, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I mean, we haven't seen the Demon in a really long time. He hasn't had to go to that dark place. So if there's a time to go to that dark place without any sort of speculation, it is now. The time is now. And I'm not John Cena, but the time is now.
So I got a commenter, a new subscriber who joined the live chat and said that he wants Finn to win. He said, hey, we're smart picking Finn in this situation. Definitely. Finn Balor is definitely one of those guys who, coming in, he had a lot of expectation being a super huge indie star, running the Bullet Club as Prince Fergal Devitt. I think that in this situation, why not? Finn is a guy who, now that you don't have, the Roman Reigns anymore, you don't have the Seth Rollins in the main event picture right now. You have John Cena as a part-timer who came back solely to put over Finn Balor and give Finn Balor a clean victory this week, I think that you're putting a lot of stock behind Finn to not have him walk away as the champion out of Royal Rumble. My thing is, you're saying you're going to give us something different, in this situation. Why not?
This is the opportune time for it to happen. I mean, we've been wanting fresh matchups. We've been complaining about having a champion that's absent. Yes, it has done well to boost other people, but at the same time, you can still boost people while having your champion show up every single Monday night. They tried it with Roman, and Roman had to relinquish it. So they had no other choice but to see who else was ready to take the reins, literally, and do it. But at the time, there was nobody ready, so they just threw it back on Brock. Now let's go ahead and pick up where Roman left off and start with Finn, who was the first ever Universal Champion, but he had to relinquish it the very next night. So if things would have changed, if he would have been able to hold the title, do you think that Brock Lesnar would have had as long of a title run as he did?
I don't think so. I think that, Finn was definitely the guy in the beginning that they wanted to build around when he first made his debut to the main roster. Getting, white hot victories over the likes of Seth Rollins, singles victories over the likes of Roman Reigns. I think that he was definitely the guy that they wanted to build stock in. I think that when he came back, he hasn't really achieved that same level of success, but his fan base has never wavered. He's still been a huge face the whole time. He's built a lot of his stock, especially in these mid-card matches or unexpected matches like the ones that he had with AJ Styles. Like some of the matches that he had with, Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title. He's got big match potential. He's got big star potential. He's definitely somebody you need to pull the plug on. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Finn in this one. So other than Finn Balor, there's been a couple of other changes that have been made. We didn't spend much talking about this one last week, but a Twitter war that erupted between the two has made me want to spend some time focusing on these guys. So everybody who has been watching has been waiting for the Four Horsewomen versus the Four Horsewomen. And now we're finally seeming like we're going to get it with this Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey match. Ronda Rousey had a lot of big boy trash talk to say about Sasha Banks and the quote-unquote faux horsewomen. Who are you buying or selling in this matchup, and which horsewomen group are you more so behind in this situation?
Well, I'm so happy that they are already taking a step in this right direction. I mean, she's already beaten 2 of the 4 horsewomen, and like the one who's been actually, no, I take that back. She has not beaten 2 because she never got her chance to fight Becky. So I can't say that. That was my mistake there. She beat Charlotte. Well, no, she didn't beat Charlotte. Charlotte beat her down. So, obviously, I'm more behind the WWE 4 horsewomen. I love Ronda Rousey. Don't get me wrong. I am a huge Ronda Rousey fan. And I'm a fan of Sasha when she is a heel. I do not like face Sasha. Face Sasha comes off as fake. I like the boss. I don't like the boss and hug connection Sasha. I don't like the face Sasha. And Sasha is like so lackadaisical, for lack of a better word, lazy when it comes to when she's not in a title picture. Not saying that she's actually lazy, but it just looks like she doesn't give a damn unless she's in the title picture. So, but I do like the fact that the 4 horsewomen of UFC, I'm just going to go ahead and put it that way, or MMA, whichever one you want to call it, that 4, they have been backing each other constantly. You never see any of them talk bad about another. There's never been a fight break out between them. They've got solidarity in their corner. So I give them props for that, because through thick and thin, rise and falls, and actually that's something that was brought up in the Twitter war about the sisterhood of the MMA girls versus the WWE girls.
I can agree with that. But you know, like I said, I agree with you. I'm definitely more so on the side of the four horsewomen of WWE, just because, you know, this is WWE, this is wrestling, and I can't pick the guys who aren't wrestlers versus the guys who are. However, I think, you know, while Ronda boasts that as something to be proud of, you know, that there's a sisterhood, there's a camaraderie, you know, it's still really only one major name out of that group. WWE built the second major name out of that group in Shayna Baszler. You know, Shayna Baszler and the other two were definitely not talked about on the same level as Ronda Rousey. I think that she's talking some big boy stuff to really be, you know, more so the hot dog or the grandstander out of the group. I think with the four horsemen of WWE, you know what they are. These are four single stars, you know, who have solely built the purpose for the whole division to be talked about more. They built it to where, like, as Sasha Banks stated, that, you know, they come out and may have the lowest of low expectations and to knock everybody on their ass when they perform. You know, I like that about them. They don't have to be a sisterhood. It's like the Justice League. You know, you got Superman, you got Batman, you got Wonder Woman, you got other folks that are in the Justice League that, you know, these guys are still heroes on their own without being, you know, a faction. And then when they're a faction, they're just that much more dangerous. We've seen that they've had internal struggles, you know, internal rumblings, but at the end of the day, they always prevail. In this situation, I'm thinking the same thing is going to happen with the WWE Four Horsewomen. I think that Ronda Rousey is more so the grandstander. She's the hot dogger of the group. She's trying to build them up as a group, but we know who it's really about. You know, the other guys, they took losses on the chin and they kept fighting. Ronda took two on the chin and retired. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely going to have to back my WWE women in this one.
Well, it's not just the backing of that because of what Ronda had done in the past, but I also think that she did everything that she could do. So I think that was another reason why she stepped away from UFC, and to further make her more of a global superstar, not just acting, but to delve into the world of sports entertainment, as WWE so lovingly calls it. She did definitely make a name for herself, and she has brought many fans over. Just like I know I'm actually going to say this, just like the Bella Twins did. They brought in a new fan base, and any time you get more clout, more reaction, more interaction is positive to me, because like it all helps, because I love this product so much. And I will always stand behind my horsewomen of WWE, like you said. But I love the fact that they are sticking together and they're doing this together. And Shayna definitely was built by WWE, and I love Shayna Baszler. I didn't know anything about Shayna Baszler until she was in the Mae Young Classic, and they were calling themselves the Four Horsewomen there. I never knew that they even referred to themselves as that beforehand. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, Sasha, you better bring the boss, because you're going to need it against Ronda Rousey.
Big facts, big facts. Also, so what's some other rumblings around the Royal Rumble right now? Other than this whole situation with Brock being his opponent being changed to Finn Balor over Braun, we discussed the whole, you know, backstory, the feud behind the Four Horsewomen, beyond the Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey event. What's some other rumblings that have occurred here? We've still seen Vince McMahon and the man's follow on their promise for a little different content. If you guys watch Raw and SmackDown, we saw that there was some hot raunchy scenes in two different storylines between both shows. Of course, the Usos versus Mandy Rose on SmackDown, as well as the announcer well, not the announcer, but the backstage interviewer walking in on Alexa Bliss undressing. Is this a sign that we might be headed back to the Attitude Era? Or is this just a fluke to try to get us to watch more?
I think, well, with the Alexa Bliss, that was an homage to Trish Stratus. I mean, she's always idolized Trish, or maybe that's her way of calling out Trish again because she didn't get a chance to fight her at Evolution. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, either way it goes, at least in that situation, all for it. The Mandy Rose, Jimmy Uso thing, I like that too because of the fact that, yeah, it's the sex appeal that everybody's been wanting. We already know the rumored story of Mandy Rose getting offered the money by Bang Bros to join their club, so to speak. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you don't know what it is, you find out for yourself.
Google it.
Google it. Exactly. I'm not touching that one.
On your private web browser. On your private web browser.
Yeah, make sure you hide them IP addresses, okay? Okay, keep that. You don't want your boss finding out. But with that riskier content being involved, if those are shades of the Attitude Era slightly coming back that us as fans have been wanting for a while, or some of us fans have been wanting for a while. I can't speak for everybody because I know some people are not currently liking this story. But either way it goes, if it helps, it helps. And if that's just a little tease, just please don't bring back the bar painting matches. The women are wrestling just fine without it.
Absolutely. And that's what I like about that storyline, though. So it's crossing the line a little bit on a personal level, but at the same time, it's fueling more so the imminent match between Mandy Rose and Naomi. Of course, Naomi, a former two-time SmackDown Women's Champion. This is basically what I've been saying for a while as well, what we've all been saying for a while as well, that they need to do more stories wrapped around stars when they're not in a title picture, so to speak. Stories don't really have to be built around title matches. When they are, it makes it better. But those matches that are not title matches, you want to definitely have something that's around that product that'll make people want to watch more. And this whole Mandy Rose, no matter what my personal feelings about Mandy Rose is, it's made it that much more interesting to kind of pay attention to the storyline. And emotionally, I'm here invested in Naomi, like, yeah, Naomi, kick her ass, so to speak. If you're not aware of what we watched SmackDown, we had a segment, or SmackDown had a segment, Mandy Rose invited Big Uso up to the hotel room. He proceeds to show up to the hotel room. Mandy's looking like she's going to undress. Naomi pops up. And, at that point in time, Mandy Rose is about to get her, what did she say? Get her ponytail snatched or her hair snatched or whatever she says.
She's going to get snatched bald.
Snatched bald, that's what it is.
Snatch her bald.
It was one of those things. But yeah, I'm really invested.
For me, this is almost like a stepping stone. If you think about it, Mandy Rose already has a partner. Could this be a potential call-up for somebody to be a Naomi partner in this? And the perfect woman I would see to pair with this, because of the way that Mandy Rose is using her sex appeal for Naomi, would be Lacey Evans. That's a good way to bring her into a story. Mm-hmm. Because of the fact all y'all little nasties out there deal with a real lady, a classy lady who doesn't have to use sex appeal to get over. Think about that.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of focus on the women call-ups, especially, Nikki Cross, who made an appearance on both shows this week. We're still awaiting the arrival. Has Lacey Lane arrived yet? I don't think that I've seen her arrive yet. On the main roster.
No, Lacey Lane is still down at the Performance Center. Lacey Evans is who you're referring to. And yes, she has been seen in the back on both shows.
Mm-hmm. So definitely, Yeah, we're definitely waiting on those call ups. My bad. It's both named Lacey. I get them confused from time to time. But yeah, we're definitely awaiting those call ups. I don't know if you were ready. If they would bring her in this storyline or not. That would be very interesting. But in my opinion, I think this is ultimately to end up building stock around Mandy Rose. I think that she's one of those ones that the upper management is very, very high on. She's blind. She's of course pretty. Of course, this is going to be somebody that they're going to build some stock around in that instance. So I definitely see Mandy Rose walking away with the victory, but I'm more so interested in how this story is going to turn out. Is this going to be something that ends up breaking the Usos up or breaking Naomi away from the Usos on screen?
Well, what I'm thinking is going to be because of we didn't even talk about this yet, but the newly announced introduction of the belts on A Moment of Bliss on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And they that the Elimination Chamber is where we're going to have 3 teams from Raw and 3 teams from SmackDown compete for the first ever newly formed, should I say, not first ever, but first ever newly formed WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. So, who would be the third women's team from SmackDown, though? I mean, you pretty much already have the Iconics in as a lock.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much Sonya and Mandy together as a lock.
Mm-hmm.
So, who would be the third team? Yeah,
that's a big question. That's definitely a valid question. And it could be a combination of any stars, so that could definitely work out in their favor, and that could definitely prove your theory right in that instance. If not them, I would say they would probably use some combination of the horsewomen, maybe Becky and Charlotte, if both of them are not in the women's title picture in that time frame.
That may also be. I mean, but then again, on the other side, if Sasha does perchance lose to Ronda, then Sasha and Bayley, of course, the Boss and Hug connection, have been the ones who are advocating for this. So I don't see why they wouldn't be in that spot as well as the Riot Squad. So the other teams are yet to be determined, but we'll just put it like that. And I'm anxious to see what's going to happen. But before we get into Elimination Chamber too much, we got to jump right back to that Royal Rumble topic that we were talking about and the riskier content that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think that it's a move that I like it. I'm not sure if everybody else likes it. I know there was a lot of buzz on the internet about it. So if y'all want to continue to go this route, hey, I'm all for it. Once again, I said it before, I say it again. If it brings ratings, let it go.
I'm all for it. So with this whole situation with Finn Balor being moved to the #1 contendership, it kind of throws me through a loop here on what they're going to do now as far as the Royal Rumble and who may possibly win the Royal Rumble. Now, of course, my pick has been Drew. Of course, last week when Chill was on the show, he said his pick was Seth Rollins. But now it's like, with Finn, if Finn does walk away of WrestleMania, walk away from Royal Rumble as the champion, it kind of makes me wonder, all right, now, does this mean that they're going to go in the heel direction? Does that lock up Drew McIntyre possibly winning the Royal Rumble? Or could it still go to some of the other guys who've had a nice little hot streak over the last month or two?
Well, it just makes for an interesting show because remember, there's 2 shows. So if Finn does win, that doesn't necessarily mean that a face still couldn't win the Royal Rumble and then choose to go up against Daniel Bryan. Because Andrade Cien Almas has had a incredible push.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see them going with one of the new guys of SmackDown. You could definitely go with Mustafa Ali, who's been gaining some steam, or you could go and resort back to an old favorite who never has truly gotten their push since they've been on the main roster. They've had some big fights, but still have yet to capture a title. And with that, like possibly Samoa Joe or Drew McIntyre. Those are the other two guys who I'd like to see do something. And I think that with Joe winning the Rumble, that would be extremely interesting because we haven't had too much of a conversation about Samoa Joe. But just look at the things that he's done in TNA and looking at what he's done since he's been here. It could definitely be somebody who can feud with anybody, any size, big or small, and he can go with the best of them. And then just think about the returns as well. I'm not sure if Kevin Owens will be ring ready by the time that the Royal Rumble hits, but I would love to hear KO come out. And then again, you also have the return of Sami Zayn. Once again, I don't know exactly whether or not that he'd be there and able to return during that. And then you also have Bray Wyatt, they could just be holding off on as well. And we know the history between Bray and Finn, that was the match that we never got at the end of it all when he brought out the demon, because Bray Wyatt also ended up with the mumps, I believe it was. He was on that. So with Bray Wyatt possibly returning at the Rumble, that feud definitely has history for him to go with Finn. So we don't know. We'll just have to see what they're going to bring. And I'm excited for this Rumble.
Definitely, I've heard a lot about Bray Wyatt. Definitely is someone who could return at the Royal Rumble. I'd be all for him winning as well. He's definitely somebody who's been under-pushed. As we were talking about guys under-pushed earlier who could go to AEW, that would be a huge signing if he was to leave. He's definitely been somebody who could have been a top heel a long time ago. He's another one who's got a lot of the wrestling ability, a lot of the talking ability. He's got the look of a pure heel. So definitely he's somebody who, could be a big stock in AEW if he doesn't get pushed soon in WWE. But yeah, I could definitely go with Bray. I still don't want to... And maybe the Drew McIntyre pick is so obvious that maybe it's just to throw us for a loop for that return. So to speak. But then again, anything can happen. We could get a Seth Rollins that could, still win the Royal Rumble, and we could just have a face versus face, championship match. Or we could get AJ Styles to win, and we could get AJ Styles versus Finn at WrestleMania. So there's a lot of ways that this could go. I want to go back to El Idolo just a little bit. Just because he and Rey Mysterio had a classic match. I don't know if you guys saw this match on SmackDown, but Rey and Andrade, which they've gone to calling him Andrade now instead of going with the full Andrade Cien Almas now, they had a barn burner. Did you happen to catch that match, Toya? I mean, Lady Great One?
Well, you could call me Toya, you could call me Lady T, you could call me Lady Great One, but yes, I caught that match as all three versions of myself. The woman legend. I mean, whatever you want to say. Yes, I caught that greatness. And El Idolo is doing the thing. And I love how 2 weeks in a row, Rey Mysterio brought out my favorite move, the Canadian Destroyer. He did it 2 weeks in a row, and it was beautiful. I love that move. Oh my God, I love that move. But I'm really, really liking the push that they're actually giving Andrade right now, because he's always been one of my favorites, and I just can't wait to see what 2019 holds for him.
Big facts. Well, we're a little over a week out from the Royal Rumble, so definitely have some more time in the future to talk about the final matchups, how those end up getting set together, as well as giving our final predictions for that show next week. Also, the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view coming up for the same weekend. What is it? TakeOver Phoenix, I believe?
Yes, that is correct. TakeOver Phoenix. And we got some good matches lined up for TakeOver Phoenix. Whew, man, that's a good card.
Absolutely. So we want to make sure that we wait for that card to get put together. We'll definitely give some of our predictions for that show on next week's show as well. Other than that, that'll move us right along into our final thought. Lady Great, when you want to start us off?
Well, before we started our conversation, I did have a final thought. And I'm going to go ahead and go with that. I want to congratulate the newly married couples that have recently been announced on our WWE rosters. So let me go ahead and start off with the newest, and then I'll proceed my way back to the first ones. I want to congratulate one Miss Nikki Cross and Killian Dane on their recent nuptials. Congratulations. As well as one Miss Sarah Logan and Raymond Rowe of the War Raiders, if you did not know who Raymond Rowe was. Congratulations as well. Leo Rush recently got married. I am unsure of his wife's name. I do not think that she is involved in wrestling right now, but I do want to wish him congratulations on his nuptials, as well as going back to the nuptials of Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir of the Four Horsewomen. So congratulations to all of you guys. Being out there on the road, I know that relationships form, and some of these people have been on the road together for years, and they develop relationships, and when it actually works out and they get married and they stay married and they're healthy and they're both doing what they love, I wish you nothing but the best in wedded bliss. And that is my final thought.
Awesome. So my final thought, we mentioned Ronda Rousey earlier. As you know, other than, us being big wrestling fans, the majority of us here at Marking Out Amongst Friends and the whole Debate Amongst Friends family really are all gamers. It was announced for the new Mortal Kombat 11 reveal earlier today that Ronda Rousey is going to be the voice of Sonya Blade. Just the look of the character, I think this is going to be a huge, big deal for Ronda Rousey. I mean, she fits the character perfectly. I can't wait to get the game. And, honestly, it's just kind of a mark-out moment for me to have somebody that's going to be part of the best of both of, my favorites as far as the gaming world and as far as the wrestling world coming together into one entity. So I can't wait for that. Other than that, that's my final thought. It's been a wonderful episode with you guys. We're definitely, once again, going to do our prediction show as we always do next week. But as for tonight, Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast, we are out.
Marking out.
He was marking out, man!
450 off the top with the top splash. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.